is a sunny Patriots Day at Kenmore Square. A big part of the Patriots Day tradition is the Red Sox. The game is just getting underway, and of course the other thing is the marathon happening right behind us. This is about a mile from the finish line, where last year a lot of runners were stopped after the tragedy. We're going to hang out here and we're going to talk to some people and see what the mood is here in Kenmore Square. One runner who was not stopped last year and had high hopes of finishing first this year was Marblehead Shalane Flanagan, who led the race on a record pace at the halfway point. That's when I caught up with her half-brother, Adam Eigner, as he and their family tracked Flanagan's progress just 1 mile from the finish.
She's doing great. I think she's somewhere around mile 20, 21, and she's still in the lead.
But by the time she reached Kenmore, she'd fallen off the pace. Still, her family and the crowd cheered big.
Come on, Shalane! A little disappointed, but I think she really rallied the city. Having a local girl who had a chance to win got everyone really excited.
But crowds came from all over. This group was here from Washington State to support their friend Mike.
I think it really made him want to run it that much more. He's rocking the blue and yellow today to represent last year. So I think it kind of drove him a little bit, that much harder to try and make it here. So,
do you agree with that?
I do.
The police presence was noticeable, if not quite overwhelming. Officials had stressed the importance of the crowds themselves in their security plan. Charles Collins from Virginia took that to heart.
There was one guy with a bag over there, and I had the cop to check it out.
But security concerns didn't slow down the runners, nor did it dampen the mood. Not for the spirited spectators, nor the runners.
You have to laugh. You have to laugh. We're doing it respectfully. You know what I mean? But you have to move forward, or that means they got us.
I'm a little injured, so I took it easy today.
Okay.
Someone said you look like you needed a beer, and I took it.
So you're having a beer?
Oh, yeah.
Just a nice, easy final mile. How you feeling?
Well, I felt better, but this is incredible. Unbelievable.
Why is it so unbelievable?
It's the people. It's great people come together to do great things. Fantastic.
Emily, that runner, very emotional, as a lot of people were. But it was, it really struck me a year later after what happened last year, where the story became the tragedy and all of the aftermath, of course. This year really was about the runners again. And what a spectacular feat they're accomplishing, and that sense really came through in Kenmore Square for me.
So people came out really early in Copley Square to get get a good position. How about Kenmore? Was there a big crowd there?
It wasn't a huge crowd. I would never say it was like an overwhelming crowd. It wasn't like you were packed in or you couldn't move around at any point. It certainly built through the day early on. Around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. It was not too many people. Some people getting in position and things like that. By the time like 2 o'clock rolled around and the game let out and everything, the crowd swelled. But when the game let out, people couldn't move directly from Fenway Park down into the race route. There was a big fence, and they were being sort of shuffled off to the side. So you had to walk down and all the way down to Mass Ave to get to the race track area. So it didn't have that big swell that maybe it has had in prior years.
Yeah, well, they always have to shut off Boylston because people coming down there. So, normally Kenmore Square is not an area where there's a huge security presence. Yeah. So did you notice right away that there was...
Right away. So, in fact, I got there on the T, right? And when I was getting off the T at Kenmore, I came up, the stairs, and I started to walk away, and I noticed all the security there, and I began to circle back right away. I was like, I'm going to take a couple pictures, tweet a few things out. And as soon as I started to circle back, one of the security people, one of the cops, came walking toward me. Can I help you, sir? What are you looking for there? Once I told him who I was and everything, he was fine. But it surprised me, first of all, just how many of them there were, and then how active they were right there out of the gate. The first interaction I had this morning.
They were very engaged, and as I said to Commissioner Bratton a few minutes ago, I was actually stunned at how many people came with backpacks.
I know.
And huge bags. And everybody was nonplussed. The people bringing them in, the security went through it, and then put a big yellow band on it. But rather than say, didn't you get the message, buddy?
I know.
They were letting people come in.
I know. They let it happen. I think my suspicion is a lot of what happened in the lead up to the race in terms of talking about how many people there were going to be and the bag policy and letting people know that all this was going to happen is sort of part of the security plan, just so that you cut down on it. But I think they probably were prepared for a lot of people to have bags. And they certainly did it. Honestly, Emily, aside from a little bit more of a noticeable security presence,
It really felt like every other marathon that I have ever been at, right? The crowds were in a good mood. People were cheering. There were a lot of cowbells. There were a lot of families. There were these nice little moments you would have in talking to people. You know, like there was one group, a family that I was talking to. There was, an old woman who was a runner's grandmother, and they do this every year. They've been there for 7 years, and she always sets up at Kenmore, and her granddaughter always comes by and gives her a hug when she reaches that point. All of that happened, and it felt like a regular marathon.
What's the meaning of the cowbell again?
I have no idea what the meaning of the cowbell is.
I kept meaning to find that out today. Somebody email me. Let me know what's the meaning of that cowbell.
There are a lot of them out there.
There's something, but I can't remember what it is. All right. Edgar Herwick, as always, pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Emily.
For those observations.